So can you tell us a bit about yourself, sir, and how you fit into the Cummins family?
Okay, my name is Alok Joshi, and I'm responsible for the power generation business for Africa. And I'm based in Johannesburg. For Cummins, Africa is starting right up from Libya, Algeria, all the way down to South Africa. So I'm responsible for the power generation business for Cummins for all of Africa.
Absolutely, and power is very much in the news. Can you talk about some of your power solutions that could help our shortages?
Yes, so I think what South Africa is going through is a crisis where, there's a lot of demand and the supply is not there, as well as a situation where I think the infrastructure is getting old. So you have a situation where the reliability of the grid is not that great. So what Cummins can do is, help businesses with their power needs. So we have generators starting from 10 kilowatt, which we can use in your house, right up to 3.5 megawatt, which is good to power small, industry or a big building or something of that sort. So we have solutions which can range from 10 megawatts to 3,500, 10 kilowatts to 3,500 kilowatts. And we have it in different fuels as well. So we have diesel, which is very widely available, and then we also do gas. And gas is quite interesting proposition from a operating cost perspective.
And can you talk about the different types of gas we're dealing with and the pros and cons?
Yes, we can do gas, pipeline gas is one, we can do propane, we can do digester. So different types of gases is something that we can burn and generate electricity. And it depends, for example, in Kenya, we are doing a project where we are burning wood. It's a parasite which grows in certain parts of Kenya. And we are working on, burning that wood to create gas, and that's going to power up to 10 megawatts. That will get fed into the grid. So we do all these different types of solutions. We can do with waste. So all the waste that is accumulated, you burn it and use that gas to generate electricity.
Can you talk about some of the R&D that goes into these sort of products?
Yeah, so I think we have one of the products over here on display, which is a 95-liter engine, which will probably be 3 times the size of, 2 times at least the size of this one. This is a 50-liter and that is a 95-liter.
How many kilowatts did you get out?
That will do a 3.5 megawatts, so 3,500 kilowatts. And we launched that product last year. And it generates, it has the most optimal sort of lowest operating cost that we have. So we've invested $1 billion plus in that particular engine. And the first rollout will happen for power gen, and then we will roll it out for other applications. So from a Cummins perspective, we want to be at the leading, forefront of technology. So if you look at most of our products, in Europe, we were the first to come up with stage 3A products when the market didn't really need it. In India, we have the CPCB2 compliant products. And if you take in the US, we have Tier 4 final, Tier 4 interim, all emission level products which are dictated by the legislative bodies in different areas. So Cummins has always been in the forefront of coming up with products that not just meet the global emission standards, but when it comes to gensets, we make the quietest product, the smallest footprint. So there are a lot of other metrics that we focus on when we develop our products.
And LNG, obviously something you're looking at?
LNG, so the way it works is the products work on gas. So even if you move CNG or LNG, we'll have to have a system where it gets converted, the liquid fuel gets converted into gas. But that is one of the things that we're going to talk about in Mining Indaba, because we feel that gas could provide remote, a solution for, distributed generation. And if you've got a mine which is maybe, 100 kilometers away from the grid or from the coast where the gas is available, you can truck gas in a compressed format or a liquid format and generate electricity at site.
And your views on shale gas and the exploration therein?
The exploration of shale gas will depend on the economics, and especially with oil prices going so low, the investment in shale will become more challenging. If you're talking about oil at $45 a barrel, it will be very difficult for shale to be viable in all areas of the world. So I think the point is, If the gas prices and the oil prices go up, shale will be definitely a very interesting option for exploration and investment. But at the current level, I think it will be a bit challenging. But it also depends on the geopolitical situation with many countries. If they want to be self-sufficient from an oil perspective, a lot of American oil comes from shale and the imports have declined over time. So it also depends on the geopolitical situation. But the prices at which the oil is today, I think it will become more challenging to invest in shale in at least some areas where it is very difficult to extract.
And the uptake of gas in the maritime sector?
In the maritime?
Is becoming more popular?
Yes. Gas we feel is the future. There is a lot of reliance on diesel now, and gas gets flared in many markets because it's very difficult to tap that and distribute it. I think that's the big issue with gas in Africa. Angola has a lot of reserves, Mozambique has a lot of reserves, Tanzania has a lot of reserves, Algeria has a lot of reserves. The point is, how do you distribute that gas? And even if you look at our in the small automotive sector, a lot of products have moved from diesel to CNG or some form of gas. And I think we feel that's the future. And that's the reason why, the new 3.5 megawatt that we invested, that is going to have a gas variant, and we are going to release it in the next couple of years. But if you look at the cost of operating a product on gas, it's much more economical than diesel.
And to put it in practical terms, what size mine would that 3.5 megawatt satisfy?
So a typical mining installation depends on the size of the mine, but what we've seen is you might have a mine typically around between 25 to 40 megawatt each site. And we can have multiple, say 10 units of the 3.5 megawatt or 8 units of the 3.5 megawatt to cater to a mine site. There are two ways to look at it. If you have a serious problem with electricity, then that becomes the main source of power. The other way to look at it is when you have a shortage of electricity and the grid is not supplying electricity, then you would get into a situation where this, it is either a backup or it's a prime, source of supply. One of the things, for example, that we do in Nigeria is we sell electricity to end customers because one, the grid is very unreliable, and the cost of generation that we do from gas is more cost effective than the total cost of running.
My next question is gas almost becoming more cost effective than other forms?
Yes, so it depends on the country. So if you look at if there is a difference in the pricing, a huge difference between the pricing between gas and diesel, gas will always be the best option to generate electricity. But you would have countries where there's not much of the spark spread, between diesel and gas. Countries like Algeria or Saudi Arabia, where the price differential is not that high. But if you look at Nigeria, there's a huge difference between the gas prices and the diesel prices. That's where the gas becomes quite interesting to operate. But overall, it's also a question of what is the cost of getting diesel to a form where you can use it, crude to diesel and gas. And the simple math would say that if you have gas, it will always be much more economical to run a power plant.
And have you seen the filtration side of your business grow over the last 5 to 10 years?
Yes, specifically in Africa, because the quality of fuel that you get in Africa, it varies from country to country, and there's a lot of need for filtration to ensure that the right quality of diesel goes into the engine. If you look at this particular engine, this operates on a common rail fuel system. So if you have fuel contaminated, it will really cause a lot of problems for either the mine site or the equipment, or if you're generating power, it will have that problem. So I think the important, aspect of getting, a better compliant and, low emissions product is to ensure that what you feed into the engine is equally clean.
So is that a problem you have in Africa with low ppms?
Yes, so if you look at Europe and the US, most of the products are, very low, ultra low emission levels. You're talking about stage 5 or Euro 6 and, those kind of levels where the product, the air that comes out of the exhaust is very, very clean, So in Africa, there are no emission, legislative requirements at this point of time. But we feel in future it will come.
How many years we're looking at for that kind of legislation?
There is no pan-African body for emissions. I think that is one way to look at it. But if you look at a country level, there is not a huge drive for emissions at the moment, but it's going to come. And it will not just come for on-highway applications, but it will also come for other industrial applications as well.
How far away are we from quality biodiesel that can be used industrially?
So many of our products are compliant to B20 and to that level. I think there's a debate about if biodiesel is the right way to go about it, because what we have seen is the price of food is going up in the market. So the question is, do you use a lower price? Do you want an optimal price for food, or do you want to have 20 or 30 or 40% of your diesel to be with some bio content? So I think that is the big challenge today, and I don't think that biodiesel has actually picked up that much. When it started, it was a big thing, but now a lot of people realize when you have a food distribution and food security issue in the world, that may not be the best solution. But of course, we have made our products compliant, many of our products compliant to some level of biodiesel.
What are your impressions of the Indaba this year?
This is my first time over here, and I've come from the UK, and now I'm heading up the Africa business over here. But what I see is there is more talk about here for electricity and power in comparison to mining. So which is a great thing for us, because everybody needs electricity to run a mine. And the reason why we've also come over here is we want to showcase that we have engines for all application, not just power generation, but mining, construction, and marine, and all type of various applications. But if you per se say take mining, we do very well because we have great partners in mining, and we are one of the very few people who can give you a complete energy solution for a mining outfit. So that's the reason why we are here, and so far it's looking very promising.